Um, I just wanted to make a video to explain why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I'm doing this research, because everyone out there that's watching this thinks, well, not everyone, but a lot of people who are new to the channel, people who are not familiar with um, what I do, will think that this is all about me. I'm doing this just for myself. I'm not, because you see, I'm very limited. My health's limited. My life's probably limited. I mean, I probably won't be around that much longer because of all the problems. You see, I have some weird medical issues. Um, I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes the whole room seems to start spinning, right? And I think I've got something going on up there, but I don't know what's going on. I've got these problems because I'm transgender as well, right? So I'm on all these hormones and everything, but I'm not saying it's that that's causing me any problems, but I don't know what's going on with me. I really don't. But you see, there are days when I have this huge problem with mentality, with my clarity of thought, when I just can't think, and I have these blockages. So it's like I need a purpose. I need a purpose to do something with my life, to maybe help other people who are struggling, because the way I see it, I'm a bit of an empath, right? Well, I am an empath. Now, I'll explain what I mean. I know that there's millions of people out there, well, thousands, maybe millions, I don't know, who, because of the lack in education, as in the school systems don't operate like they used to do back in the 70s when I was at school. So we have a lot of young people who are coming out of school and they haven't a clue about how anything works. They don't know how electronics, they're not taught properly, like basically what I'm saying. I wasn't taught properly. I had to learn everything, a lot of stuff I learned by, I suppose the best way to explain it, it was a bit of a natural gift. Some of it was a bit of a natural gift with me. It was just, you have to have this intense curiosity. You have to. It's a lifelong thing. You can't just pick a spanner up. Symbolically speaking, you can't just pick up a spanner and know exactly how to use it. There's many different ways of using a spanner, even, such as sticking a pipe on it to give you more leverage, and but anyway, let's not get distracted. What I'm saying is, the electronics is a highly complicated, steep learning curve, because the more you learn about electronics, the more you realize you don't know, because initially people look upon it as being magical, as in magic. How does it work? What makes that bulb light up? And that's the very early concept of electronics. When you see a bulb light up, you think, well, how does it do that? There's nothing changing here. I can't see anything changing except for the bulb lighting up when you put that wire on that wire. And there's a lot of kids like that who have that curiosity, and you have to have that curiosity. But you see, it doesn't. That's the very beginning. It goes much deeper than that. I mean, you've got the speed of electrons traveling through wires. Initially, most people assume that that the positive terminal is where the power flows in, and that the negative is where it flows out. But that's technically not correct. The electrons actually move between negative and positive. They actually move the other direction. Why have they taught us from an early age the positive is positive and negative is negative, when in reality it's the other way around? But we don't want to cloud the issue and complicate it. If you want to understand, if you want proof of that, just look at a car battery, right? You'll notice that on a car battery, the negative terminal is always clean, right? The negative terminal doesn't corrode, but the positive terminal is always corroded and covered in green gunk and all sorts. And why is that? That's because electrons are flowing from the negative terminal to the positive terminal, and they're carrying all that crap that's in the atmosphere and it's sticking to the positive terminal. Now, many years ago, I'm just going over some basics. Many years ago, when cars became electrified, when we had a gasoline, petrol car, and we no longer had to have hanging lanterns that were running on oil. We no longer had oil lanterns. We had electric lights and everything. The first cars that were made had a positive earth. Some of them actually had a positive earth, right? That's a positive ground. Now, what do you think the problem would be with a positive ground? Can you think of what the problem is? Well, corrosion. That was the number one problem, because when you have a positive ground and you have a negative supply wiring in the vehicle, what would happen is the actual chassis of the vehicle, the whole body of the car, would become oxidized heavily, much more oxidized. You would have corrosion much worse on a positive chassis than you would with a negative chassis. So they realized what the problem was when cars started corroding really badly. So they then changed it to negative ground, so that the actual electrons are flowing from the car body outwards. That was basically stripping away and minimizing corrosion on chassis, but it doesn't stop it, obviously, because if you're in a very salt area, heavily salt near the sea, for example, you'll still get corrosion. But the positive earth cars suffered enormously from corrosion. It was a huge problem. That's the reason why they decided to go with a negative ground, because it keeps the car cleaner. But you would see on a car battery that the positive terminal is all green and oxidized, and the only way to stop it really was to cover the positive terminal on a battery with Vaseline or some kind of dielectric or some kind of material, some kind of insulation material to keep the elements and insulate that terminal. So that's a little bit of basic information. But electrons flow at different speeds down wires, right? You can prove it yourself. If you stick two electrodes into some water with an electrolyte in it, you'll always notice that the negative electrode is clean and the positive terminal becomes oxidized and corroded. So you know that electrons are flowing from negative to positive. But yeah, there's just so much. I can't cover it. I can't talk about it because I don't know everything. I never claim to know everything, but I've forgotten more stuff I've forgotten more stuff in the last 10 years, right, than I learned in the first 30 years of my life. Because you see, when you get into your 60s, your brain slows down, and it takes longer to remember things. And I have short-term memory problems now, so I have a hard time just remembering stuff I did yesterday sometimes. So what I'm saying basically is, don't expect me to be around forever, because I'm getting to a point now where I just feel like I'm struggling to just keep going, but I feel like I'm close to something with my research. But luckily, the more I focus on something, the more I keep it in my mind every single day, and the more I try to help other people and share what I know, the more I do that, the more it ingrains itself in it becomes more prominent in my mind, if you know what I mean. It's not something you forget easily. That's the reason why I've got to focus so hard on things, because if I don't focus so hard on things, I just feel like I'll forget it. So the stuff I built years ago, I mean my amplifier, my stereo amplifier, right, which is don't know if I can switch over cameras. Oh, I can't do that now. But my stereo amplifier, which is over there with the little green light on it, right? I actually made that in about 1990. What was it? 1993, was it 94? Anyway, and it's 2023 now, and I have never had to repair it except for one time, and that was around 2003 when my kids turned it up. I wasn't at home, I was out somewhere. My kids, they were little, they were just babies, and they turned it up full blast and blew the regulator in it. That was the only time it ever went wrong, and that was because of an oversight with my regulation on the regulator. I had to modify it later on to prevent it from happening again, but that was the only time it ever went wrong, because one channel actually went dead on it, and I fixed it. It's got a dual tracking regulator in it. It's got great big massive serifying capacitors in the power supply, and it's got dual tracking regulators on each channel, and it's also got polyfuses in it, and it's also got mechanical fuses, as in the ones that blow and you have to replace. It's got 1 amp mechanical fuses, and it's got 800 milliamps, maybe 900 milliamp polyfuses in it, which cut out if it's an overload. They're like slow blow, but they reset themselves. So that I built that years ago, and I have never had to touch it for many years, and I had to leave all the diagrams in it when I built it because I thought someday I'm going to need them, and I never did need them. It's going to outlive me. That amplifier is going to outlive me, the way things are going, I'll tell you now. So, but most of it was kit form. I'm not claiming full credibility for all of it, because the actual amplifiers themselves that were in there were Maplin kits, but the rest of it, all the volume and the power supply, I built all that myself, right? So I'm going on a tangent here. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is, most of the stuff I'm building and working on right now is not for me, it's for you. So I'm trying to come up with some kind of, I'm trying to save you time, because there's a lot of people out there who, the younger people, who you've got a steep learning curve, and you'll probably never get to where I am in my situation. You know, you're probably, I'm trying to save you time basically, and save you money, because things are getting really tight. Money's getting tight. It's getting harder and harder, and it someday maybe I will help you get in the right direction. Maybe something, or maybe I can give you some clues. That's all I'm trying to do, is find some answers to energy, because that is the crucial thing that we all need, is energy. Energy makes the world go around. But there were days when I had my doubts, because one thing I don't want to do is, you know, like the guy who invented the nuclear thing that destroyed countries and all that, you know. I often think to myself, I wonder if I'm going to end up inventing something or creating something like free energy, and it's going to be used in a bad way to run Terminator or something like that comes and attacks humanity. And I hope to God I'm not going to be up there one day in spirit world looking down and thinking, oh shit, I wish I never created that now. You know, that's what really gets me. So I have these days when I feel really depressed and down, and because I'm thinking, am I doing the right thing? Is what I'm doing, is it going to help people, or is it going to be detrimental to people? Because we all have to ask those questions. we have to focus on doing the right thing, and we don't always know if we are doing the right thing, because only time will tell. That is what they say. And anyway, thanks for watching. I'm rambling on too much, so yeah. I'm just uploading videos to my other YouTube channel at the moment on there. I just realised that that video just uploaded, and scheduling to go live is on my daughter's birthday. Well, my eldest daughter's birthday. I was looking at the date and I thought, it's my daughter's birthday. Maybe I should put a birthday message in there. I thought, no. So that's why I went quiet for a minute. I was just thinking in my head, I was thinking, I never thought until I saw it, and I thought, what's that date mean? Why is it so significant? And then I realised, it just hit me. So anyway, thanks for watching. See you later, and take care of yourselves, and stay safe.